Welcome to the Learning Can't Wait podcast, a Full Mind production. At Full Mind, our vision is to ensure every child has access to an exceptional education. Each episode, we will be joined by pathfinders within and around the education space who are bringing about transformational change on behalf of deserving students. I am your host, Haley Spierbauer. Another season comes to a close. I have immense gratitude for season 9. It brought together some folks that I've spent a lot of time with and folks that I've never met before, and it brought big ideas to the table. The episode that started it all was with Dr. Keisha King called Connectivity as a Right. The head of education for T-Mobile really brought a lot of topics to the conversation related to connectivity and equity. And there's no more important time to have that conversation than today. Our subsequent episode was with Shayla Wallace. Shayla is founding a school for Black girls in STEM in North Carolina and talked a little bit through how that came to be and why that is so important to her. Marissa Sadler Holder came for the next episode in the episode called In the Ring for Teachers. Marissa just came from a school setting and is now doing work advising schools on how to adopt emergent technologies, implement emergent technologies, and really think through teachers as leaders in their own classrooms. Dr. Baron Davis returned to Learning Can't Wait for episode 4, this time representing Digital Promise and the importance of collaboration above all else. Dr. Davis is a huge advocate for bringing schools together to think of new ideas and implement new ideas and grow together. And this was a really inspiring episode for that reason. I finally had a chance to meet Neil Gupta, the superintendent of a school in Ohio, and having Neil on was really a pleasure. We talked about how he's been leading his community through consensus building, what barriers come in the way when you try to do that and how you overcome them. Amy Dujan joined next to talk about leadership. It was a pleasure having Amy on, knowing the incredible things that she touches in the kind of events and conference space. I'm so excited to attend one of the events upcoming, FETC, and I was grateful for my time with her. Dr. Jeremy Owa came on next in an episode called Building from the Ground Up. We spoke about some incredible work happening in Arkansas with a school district that he founded, which I never had met a superintendent that had done that. So, what a cool episode to learn from and listen to, and really learn about how communities are impacted by big changes like this and how much benefit can come from starting fresh. Dr. Saba Quidwai came next in an episode called Schools Will Be Replaced, Not Teachers. She's definitely a bucket list guest. Having Saba on was great. She is not afraid to share her opinions. She believes the bar should be higher in education, which is such a refreshing breath of fresh air, the way she just states it unabashedly. And she is an excited future technologist. She's just so forward thinking, which was really great to record. Dr. Andy Sheen came next, talking about education's true north. Andy and I have a lot in common in the virtual education space, and having Andy on was an absolute pleasure. It was really great talking to someone so like-minded who believes that we can really scale up high quality instruction using a virtual setting. Douglas Wilson came on next in an episode called Embracing Failure. You know, it's not often that you hear leaders talk about all the times they fail. And when they do, you probably take note. And so I really love how Douglas is creating in his school an environment where failure is an option, because that's how we learn. Creating that psychological safety is really important in his community. Aditi Chakravarty came on next talking about inclusive R&D. I love how ERDF is thinking about research and development for EdTech and schools. It is definitely the direction we need to go in because it allows for creating environments that can be studied and replicated. Without that, how do we know what works? And, it's a fragile time for the conversation around research and education. So I'm grateful for the work that's happening at ERDF right now. Next up came Dr. Malcolm Jones. We talked about innovation in Arkansas. So much Arkansas this season, but you know I have a passion for rural education. It's always wonderful to hear from leaders and how they're impacting their communities in rural America, what collaboration looks like in those communities. My dear friend, Dr. Casey Brock, who is running for a citywide seat in Atlanta School Board, came next and talked about being a private citizen but a public servant. Why she's running for a board seat, how you run for a board seat, how you get involved in local politics. This was a really, really special episode for me to record. Next up, we had Dr. Jeff Carlson, who came on in the episode called Who Gets a Say? Rethinking Tech Policy and Family Engagement in Education. Jeff spoke all about the topic we started this season with, connectivity, really talking from Clever's vantage point about access, safety, ensuring that families are a part of the conversation. And Jeff is a fellow rural enthusiast, so really fun to talk with him. We did a crossover episode for episode 15 with Nate McClellan from Getting Smart. And both he and I were on the hot seat, which is always a fun way to turn the tables. We thought about what would make a great school, what we've seen that's happening in America that's really beautiful. And if we could just remove all the barriers, what would we have education look like? Another panel was for episode 16 with John Gamba, Jason Green, and Will Krasnow. The topic was called The Objective Was Never AI. We're talking to these ed tech companies that are using artificial intelligence to promote education and educational opportunities for kiddos. But we're not leading with AI. We're leading with great teachers. We're leading with great instruction. And this episode really shone light on that. Thank you to John for coordinating the guests and for introducing me to two new to me educators. Dr. Michael Stone came on in an episode called Cell Phone Bans in Arkansas. This is a really hot topic, right? Talking about cell phones being banned, the impact it has on kids, positive, negative. In his community, it's been very positive. He had a lot to share about how this has been bringing his community forward and students' education forward at a time that that's needed. Aruna Gilbert came on in an episode 18 episode called Early Childhood Learning Can't Wait. Aruna is an incredible light working in a nonprofit supporting Palm Beach County schools to ensure more early childhood learning opportunities for kids. Families have access to them. The programs are enriching. They are really moving kids forward on the spectrum from where they need to in their developmental stages in early childhood. A topic that is underfunded, but grateful for Aruna for doing this work. AJ Crabble came on for the next episode in an episode entitled Relentless Pursuit. AJ is a well-known author, an advocate, and an experienced champion for learning outcomes, keeping the bar high, achieving those outcomes in multiple districts across the US. I had goosebumps this entire episode. AJ, there's so obvious to me why he's so respected in this field, both from the accomplishments he can list that he has been a part of and led, but also because of the way he speaks and inspires and sets a vision for what education can and should look like in our country. Alana Winnick is still leading this work in her school district. She came on in an episode called Centering Students. You know, there are so many people who have ideas and thoughts about how to bring change to kiddos and how to make them hands-on and how to ensure technology they feel empowered to lead it. And Alana's still doing it. You know, very often, a lot of us, including myself, have been out of schools for 10 years. And Alana is not. She's still leading technology in her district. She is still bringing teachers and students into the conversation. And often, when she is asked to present, she's bringing students with her, which is very inspiring. Another leader still in the classroom, excuse me, in schools, leading and affecting change on a daily basis is Danya Sund. Danya is episode is called Sparking AI, and Danya has really done some incredible consensus building around implementation of AI in her district. And I really wanted to highlight this episode because when I first learned about it, I thought back to my days as both a teacher and a school leader because no one likes it when new ideas are shoved down their throats. And Danya is leading a Spark initiative in her district in which adoption is voluntary, but the waiting list to join her kind of tech experiment group is growing every year. And that is exactly the type of leadership we need to see, because that's how you get buy-in. Dr. Jacqueline Rodriguez came on for episode 22. We talked about prioritizing support for students with learning disabilities. Jackie is a fierce advocate for our most vulnerable population. She is on the Hill every other week lately, speaking on behalf of initiatives and legislation that can benefit our most vulnerable learners. And what I really appreciated about Jackie's episode is how she leads with empathy. You cannot fake it. It is such a passion, and she has crafted her whole career to support and care for students. And I'm just so grateful that she's at the helm of NCLZ right now, bringing forth incredible attention to the work that needs to be done. Tara Carrozza came on next. She is leading tech adoption at the biggest school district in the country, New York City Public Schools. And she has a really untraditional path in education. And I think that's partly why this episode felt different. Tara is very aware of the constraints around the largest school system in the country, and also what the urgent calls to action are around educating New York City public schools. I laughed a lot with Tara in her episode, but I also felt really moved by her way of moving in the world without worrying all the time about if she's going to be liked for her decisions, but rather what change could be made because of her. The next episode was entitled Cybersecurity Pipeline, and it was with Kimberly Smith from Digital Promise and Seth Walker, a recent high school graduate who was pursuing a path in cybersecurity, all because of a program that Digital Promise helped bring to his high school. And when we talk about workforce development, there is no better way to help kids explore pathways than by letting them try it. I loved Seth's enthusiasm, his honesty, and really, I'm just inspired by the way he is pursuing a path he never knew existed 5 years ago. He's in college now, and he's an advocate for programs that help protect technology, especially with the rapid proliferation of artificial intelligence. And it was really fun meeting Kimberly and Seth and having their dynamic on the Learning Can't Wait podcast. And our final episode of the season was with my podcast mentor, JW Marshall. The episode was called Start Yourself a Podcast. But, if you do, make sure you have a mentor like JW. Storytelling is at the heart of what podcasting is, and no one does it better than JW. He has brought podcasts to large organizations and small. He's grown podcasts. He's really clear about what he's trying to achieve by podcasting and the stories he tells. So first, thank you to JW, because all of this is really as an effect of your guidance and mentorship. And he is not shy about sharing how to make it work. So don't miss his episode. And as always, thank you for tuning in to this incredible season with all of these wonderful guests. I am so honored to be able to be your host in this storytelling journey. And I welcome any suggestions you have for season 10. We're finally hitting double digits, which is just around the corner. Thanks for listening to the Learning Can't Wait podcast. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, and share this episode. Be the first to know when we have a new episode by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or have a suggestion for an episode, email us at podcast@fullmindlearning.com.